Well, hello everybody, John, BTV Digger again. Thanks for joining me for the next set of videos here. These next few set of videos occurred over the past week and a half or so. I actually had a long hiatus in the month of July. Vacation to California, home projects, some other things going on here and there. So I didn't really have a lot of time to get out. But I've been out in the last couple week and a half on two separate hunts. One in the Northeast Kingdom where I ironically met up with Joe and Dan of Green Mountain Diggers for a little bit and dug a couple of cellar holes, at least one main cellar hole. Didn't find too much there. And then also hit an old farmhouse, 1850s farmhouse up in north central Vermont with my other hunting buddy Pete, who lives across the way, New York side of the Champlain Valley. So that was fun. We found some few things there. I finally got my AT Pro, which is really good. I've been meaning to get the AT Pro for a couple years and finally just sucked it up and got it over the last week, and I'm still learning it. Pete had let me use his machine a little bit over the past few years and stuff, and so I was kind of familiar with it, but finally glad to have that, and I'm definitely going to go back to some of my other sites as well and hopefully find some deeper stuff that the F2 couldn't find. So come along and join me, and I'll show you some of the old relics and a few old coins I found here in the last week and a half. Well, here we are in the first find, folks. I've walked the road only about 10 minutes. I came up to the first cellar hole. I haven't found a lot here in the past. This is the same road I've been working for the last month or so. I haven't been out in like 3 weeks. Home projects, vacation. I've been itching to get out. I actually even hit a little small town park the other day and found just a bunch of clad and a couple weedies. So desperate to find some colonial relics and old stuff. And walking the old road up to some other cellar holes that I haven't found yet on the map. And I got a pretty good tone, and this was a higher tone than a shotgun shell. Usually for those, my F2, they ring up like 40s to 50s. This was more like a 60 signal, and this is a good one to start the day. Let me get down in there and get that for you. Look at that. Big old early 1800s coat button. The shank is, looks like it's bent over, yeah, it's actually torn off there. I'm not sure if this is just going to be a plain Jane or I can get a design on it after I toothbrush it up, but sometimes they'll have a little intricate design on that. But that's right in the middle of the road, about 50 yards down from the cellar hole. You got to check the old roads, folks. Nice colonial or early 1800s coat button. Sometimes they call them dandies. All right, let's go find something else today, guys. On to the next cellar hole, folks, right there in front of me. Quite a big place, right off the road here, about, I don't know, maybe a mile in. Here's my next find, and guys, maybe you can tell me what you think this thing is from the weird and wonderful. Heavy brass. It's got holes on either end, hollowed through and threaded. Is that one of those weird oddball ox knobs? I don't know. I've never found anything like that. It's really heavy. So I'm imagining it could be an ox knob, but I'm not sure because it's a different shape than I've ever seen before. If you got any ideas, let me know. Otherwise, I'll post it on one of the forums and we'll get an answer. Weird and wonderful. All right, on to the next. All right, here we are at our next find, folks. Let me just take you right down here. This one was very shallow, only a couple inches in the hole right there. And look at that. Piece of a dresser or a wardrobe, a little escutcheon piece right there, broken off right there. Maybe the other part is lying around in the soil somewhere nearby, but that's a good find. Made out of brass. I'll keep that any day. All right, on to the next find. Oh, here we are, folks, along the side of this rock wall. This is not a metal detecting find. It's more of an eyeball find, but I started digging around in here. I saw the top of an old bottle down here, and I started digging, and I found the whole part of the bottle, which is kind of cool, and I wanted to show you that. So you got the top here, and it's like hexagonal, and then the top, and that fits right on there, and then the bottom's going to fit right on there. So I got the whole bottle here, and it says Reverend N.H. Downs Vegetable Balsamic Elixir. So I'm going to have to look that up. It looks like it's you know, it's not an applied top, but it's like a cork top, so it looks like maybe turn of the century, maybe not too much older than that. But that's a cool little bottle. When you find the old embossed ones, I'll always keep those, especially if I can put them back together. And this one, I can just put some epoxy on that and wash it out, and it'll be a full bottle. So very cool find. All right, on to the next. Well, folks, here's my first test hunt with a new AT Pro. And I went back out to just an old park site here that's only about a mile from my house. Basically a lot of soccer fields here. I found a lot of cool things through the years here, but I pretty much picked it clean with the F2, so I thought I'd come back. And there's an old abandoned house right here. They used to rent this out. There used to be a house back from the early 1800s on that burnt down, and then they built this old house back in like the 1920s. And so it just sits on the same site. And people have rented this place all the way up to about 5 years ago. Now it's just sitting abandoned. So they still maintain the fields here, and people park way down there where my car is. My SUV down there is for the soccer fields back through there. So I thought I'd just come into the old front yard of where the original house and this 1920s era house is, and to see what the AT Pro could do. Still a little bit getting used to it. My friend Pete has lent me his machine for a while here and there, but this is the first time with my own, and I gotta say I'm impressed. About 8 inches down. I said I'm gonna go for this signal and see what it is, and look at that, folks. Some sort of ornate, probably early 1900s Victorian area pendant or something decorative off of something. That's definitely older, definitely probably 100 years old, if not even a little bit older than that. So that is sweet. I'll have to look into that. Is that maybe a lady's, part of a lady's sash buckle or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, let's poke around here a little bit more. I'm going out on a bigger hunt tomorrow, so hopefully I'll have some better finds for you with the Pro. But that's encouraging. This was something that the F2 would not be able to get. So happy with that. On to the next. Well, here we are, folks, at my next site. Out with my hunting buddy, Pistol Pete, over there. Been digging a number of wheats and clads at this old central or northern Vermont farmhouse. Very nice family let us dig here, and I've dug some modern stuff and some older stuff as well. Nothing too old here. I got the typical Matchbox car. I've dug a couple wheat pennies, brass iron ring. Got an old buckle here from probably the late 1800s. That's nice. And then my best coin of the day, just popped it out of that hole. The stuff is really shallow here, 3 inches. Got myself an Indian, 1906. I'll take it. She's in pretty good shape. Let's see if we can find a few more things before we head out of here. All right, on to the next. And about 10 minutes after that Indian, folks, here's my next find, and this is not a bad one. I'll take these any day. An old flat button. And let's see if I can focus down in the hole there, and you can kind of see it sitting right down there. Let me grab that up here, and I'll be able to brush that off, and we maybe get a maker's mark off it. It looks like it's just a plain Jane, which is, you know, 75% of these things are going to be that way. You know, you'd love to find military on these buttons, but those are more uncommon than just the regular civilians. So hey, probably 50s, 1840s flat button. We'll take that any day. On to the next. Okay, here's the wrap up of this hunt. Very nice hunt here, about 3 hours with Pistol Pete, my good friend over from the New York side of the Champlain Valley at this old farmhouse here in northern Vermont. I'll just go quickly through the finds. We both dug a lot of trash. Here's a little bit of my stuff. Kind of crazy, some of the iron in there, but I did get a few nice keepers. A scutcheon piece. I've got a nice brass buckle. 1 wheat penny. Got a pretty decent 1906 Indian. 1840s flat button, 1850, somewhere in there. Very nice. I saw a little gold gilt in there, so standard English stuff. And a bunch of clad pennies and quarters. And then for Pete's finds, he usually outdoes me with his XP Deus. That's okay. Got 2 harmonica reeds, a lead Whatsit, bunch of brass bullets, an old fishing reel. That's kind of weird in the front yard. A whole ton of clad pennies and some nickels. Top of a Pond's Beauty Cream container. Several suspender clips here. At least 2. This one's pretty ornate. This one's still got some strap on it. Beautiful lead-filled brass bridle rosette with the leather still in it. 1850 or so. That's old, and it's got a little decorative pattern around it. So that was really good. He also got a flat button. Assortment of wheats. He definitely outdid me on the wheats. Some 1910s and 11s in there. A 49 nickel. And let's see, we got an 1898 Indian. That's the oldest coin of the day. So quite a nice little hunt there to round out the afternoon. We will be back with you next time. This is BTV. Well, there you have it. That was the last couple hunts for me. You can see I found a few decent keepers there. Nothing spectacular, but you know, hey, that's the way metal detecting goes a lot of the times. You're not going to find gold and silver every time you go out and hunt. But if you're lucky, you can find an old coin or two and some old relics from the 1800s, or maybe you're in Vermont or New England in the eastern half of the U.S., maybe some colonial stuff here and there. And I did get that dandy button, which is about 1790s or something like that. So that was really nice. The good news is on that last farmhouse hunt that Pete and I hit, talking to the farmer, he has a lot of connections with other farmers that own some older houses and some cellar holes out in the field. So that's going to open up really quite a few decent opportunities for us in the next couple months here as we move into the late summer and fall. So hopefully we'll be able to hit some of those sites in the coming weeks, and I'll be able to show you some much better stuff from some of those sites that maybe haven't been hit before. We'll have to see. So thanks again for joining me, and until next time, get out there and dig it all. It's waiting for you in the ground to find. This is BTV Digger.